Woo! We're back. Oh my god. I'm late on the Patreon stuff for this month, for August. Yeah, it's like September already. It's September 3rd, actually. Um, I was on time last month. I was like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna be on time again. It's gonna be great. And then, yeah. There's actually, yeah, I mean, we have a topic today. But I guess I should give you guys like a little bit of a life update because a lot of fucking shit happened this month. August was very busy for me, and then, I mean, that was the reason why I fell behind. Had to write 2 college essays, started my new job, remodeled like most of my fucking room, and also had just severe fucking stomach issues. I'm thinking, should I talk about all the other shit? Oh god, I didn't bring water. I'll get water later. Okay. I'll say about my stomach issues, yeah. Like today, it's like Thursday morning. It's like 2 a.m. Thursday, right? Fuck. Yeah. So, Thursday today. Monday last week, I woke up, with just monstrous fucking stomach cramps. Might have been actually like the worst pain I've ever experienced, honestly. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. Like, it was that bad. I think, every 5 or so minutes, I would just get like, just an intense bout of cramps. And that whole thing lasted for like 2 hours. It was pretty bad. After that, it was not so bad anymore. But it still kind of kept happening throughout the day that I would get like a little sting of stomach pain. And it's like, ugh. Again, never as painful as the first time. But yeah, it kind of kept going throughout the week. It did get like better and better, like very slowly. But yeah, I went to the doctor. They said like my bowels are just like a little bit, irritated, I guess. So it was nothing really like serious or that required like special treatment. Yeah, I've been taking some just stomach calming meds. Been paying more attention to what I eat, like been eating just like yeah, just like more palatable food, I guess. Palatable. What's a fucking knäckebröd? What the fuck is knäckebröd in English? Knäckebröd English. Crisp bread? Is that a thing? Crisp bread. Wait a minute. Is it actually called that? Wasa bread. The brand Wasa. I know that. Hard bread. Hard bread kind of makes sense to me. I'd say I'm still not 100% back, I guess. Like just now I had a tiny sting again, like a really tiny one, just a little bit of a sensation in my stomach. Yeah, like over the course of the week, even after I went to the doctor, like last weekend, the previous weekend, like a couple days ago, it was still pretty bad, like the whole weekend. I just kind of had this constant feeling of discomfort in my stomach. And I had to like submit my essay by Monday, my second essay. So you can imagine it's pretty bad. Patreon, unfortunately, it was on my mind, but like I knew realistically, yeah, there's just no fucking way I'm doing that right now. And like it kind of sucks because just the whole timing of everything was really bad because the week before the whole stomach shit happened, I did the whole remodeling of my room, right? So we got new bed, new closet, and then new TV shelf. I showed off the TV shelf as well on Twitter. Just the main purpose of it is that it's like a IKEA Kallax, and it's just basically equally, like 8 equally sized square compartments. And obviously that's perfect for a fucking disgusting gamer like me, where you can just fit every console that was ever made in there. So right now I have Xbox, Sega Saturn, PlayStation 2, N64, Nintendo Wii, Wii U, Dreamcast, Xbox 360, Xbox One X, PlayStation 3. There's a GameCube there as well, but it's not plugged in, and it's not gonna be plugged in. I don't think I'm gonna use it. And a PlayStation 4. And with the PS4, the plan is hopefully it's gonna be backwards compatible. And then I can replace it with the PS5. Unfortunately, I already know that the PS5 is not gonna fit in there. It's too tall and too long. Excuse me, I'm gonna take my meds real quick. I'm gonna go into this whole, like, I've actually been getting requests to show off, like, my game collection, like, my setup and all this stuff. And as I was doing all this, I was like, you know what? I actually like that idea. I actually do want to do that. I feel like there's a lot to talk about. It's like easy content, you know? It's still, yeah, it's still like the TV area is still, but it's still pretty work in progress because I still want to get a new TV. I have new HDMI switches coming in soon. And I also, I already mentioned I want to get a new TV, right? I already picked the TV that I want. Gonna finally enter the 4K era. I've lived in the Stone Age long enough. It's like crazy how good 4K TVs are now. Like, in terms of like input lag and just all these extra fucking features. Like, you can get 120 hertz FreeSync on a 4K TV. That's crazy to me. That, like, that's so mainstream now. I'm not gonna get an OLED because just I don't fuck with the risks, with the potential risks. And like, see, I think another thing people ignore with OLED is like, yes, in darkness the OLED looks better, but obviously an LED TV, and like I'm gonna get a QLED, I'm gonna get a Samsung QLED. They get way brighter, right? And obviously when you have a brightly lit room, that's way better, but also when you're using it as like a monitor or something for your PC, that's also way better. And of course, like, that's one of the things I want to do with it. So yeah, the QLED just makes way more sense for me. I guess another problem is that I have to get rid of my current TV. And I don't want to like ship it, you know, so that's annoying. I guess I'm gonna ask like my co-students if like anyone wants it. And it's not a bad TV, right? It's like a 43-inch LG that's not that old. It's like one of the last kind of 1080p TVs that they made, which is pretty cool. Also, yeah, input lag is like so much lower now on modern TVs. That's so crazy. Like, it's really worth upgrading now for sure. I'm gonna get a 55-inch as well. I'm still, I got this like gaming beanbag with like where you can, it has like actually like a back where you can lean against, and it's really nice. It's basically like a chair, but it's kind of low, right? It's kind of like, it's kind of like a proper fucking share, but it's very low. And that's actually kind of a problem because my shelf is super high. Right now it's not a problem because the TV so is relatively small, right? So it's not super tilted. But once I get the new TV, I'm gonna have to get like a different stand so I can tilt the thing. Like I'll tilt the TV forward a little bit so that I'm looking at it sort of straight. I hope that works the way I'm imagining it. I hope it's not gonna be terrible. I also need a fucking sound bar. Gonna do that. There's a bunch of other shit I need, but like I'm like once everything is complete, hopefully like early next year. Yeah. It's probably realistic. Then I can show it off. And like I said, I'm thinking, yeah, where the fuck will I put the PS5? Because, I mean, I guess it has to go on top, but I hope I'm gonna have the room. Also, oh god, ordered an OSSC. Fuck, man. That's the most exciting thing. And, I'm not sure if this TV right now that I have is gonna be compatible with the OSSC, like, to its fullest extent. I mean, definitely not the fullest extent, right? Because I can't do 4K on this TV, right? I can't do the 1200p mode for 240p games. But for the new TV, once I get that, it's gonna be fucking lit. And it's gonna be lit for streams as well, like Saturn games and PlayStation 1 games and fucking Dreamcast and all this shit and PS2, like they're all gonna be significantly upgraded. And that's also, you might be wondering why the fuck do I have a Wii and a Wii U in my shelf? It's because a lot has been made of like the Wii U's Wii mode not being like perfectly scaled. And like the way it's wrong compared to the Wii, it is subtle, right? It's not. Initially I didn't really see it either, right? I do think if you plug both just directly into an HD TV, it might still not even really show up because the analog signal. Well, I mean, it depends on how your TV handles analog, right? On my TV, it's like so subtle, it's like not really worth bothering with, right? I just fucking use the Wii U and that's it. You have to imagine the Wii U. The Wii is 480p, and the Wii U displays it just in a 1080p window. It just multiplies it by 2, and then you have it in a 1080p window. But apparently, there's like some weird horizontal scaling and accuracy going on. Yeah, I read something like it's like shifted by 16 pixels or something, like in a weird way. And that kind of, it makes the whole image just slightly blurrier or off or just not as correct as it should be. It's still like, it doesn't shimmer. There's no like obvious just uneven pixel sizing or anything that I could notice. Like I played Rondo of Blood on the Wii U and it looked completely fine to me, to my eye. So yeah, it's like blah, whatever. But my thinking is that with the OSSC, the Wii is probably gonna be way better than the Wii U. Like Wii games and GameCube games and all this shit are gonna look way better on the Wii than they do on the Wii U. When you're using the OSSC. That's what I'm hoping for. Hoping for the same thing with the original Xbox as well. Like, I always just see line doubled Xbox and PS2 games and shit, and it just looks so fucking cool to me. Fuck, man, I'm excited. I'm gonna get the OSSC, hopefully, like, maybe today, like, on Thursday, right? Like, when I wake up. But definitely, like, at the latest tomorrow. And that's fucking dope. And then I'm gonna use it to stream as well. I'm gonna stream like Onimusha with it. Yeah, fuck, dude. Like, oh, well, I guess the prerequisite is that my capture card can handle it. I hope it can. I'm not sure, but we'll find out, I guess. This monitor, I wonder if this monitor is gonna be okay with it. I guess we'll see. It's all a learning experience. Yeah. I guess, like, in general, I'll say, I don't think I've really shown off my room like that ever on the internet because it always looked so embarrassing. Basically, when we moved here with my family, I just kept using all my old furniture. And, like, I just had this bed that it was basically double sized. And I'm not sure why we went for that. I didn't pick it. You have to imagine we bought that bed when I was, like, fucking 16 probably. And then we just kept using it. And, like, I mean, when we moved here, how the fuck old was I when we moved here? Yeah, it was, like, 19, right? So that's not weird, right? To keep using your same bed from when you were 16, when you're 19. I guess it's weird that I didn't change it until now, but it's also like, like, just flip between shitty jobs, that had a real job for a little bit, but then, you know, I was like, just busy with college, and then COVID happened, and blah, blah, blah. Like my bed, it's sort of just fucking, it basically took up, like, the whole room, right? And then I had to go around the bed all the time. It was really fucking annoying, and just, it looked very ugly. It made the whole room, like, just look chaotic, right? And just kind of like a big mess. And yeah, basically we got the new closet to make it so that the bed can, like, we got a new bed and a new closet. We got a smaller closet. I planned this all, like, perfectly in my head. That I was like, okay, we got a smaller closet. I can fit the bed, just, or you know, a new bed, perfectly to the wall. It's just along the wall instead of sort of reaching into the room. Fuck, man, it's like, it feels like a completely new room now. Just, it's insane how much fucking space I have now. And yeah, obviously, I used to always, like, sort of awkwardly prop up some pillows in my bed and then look at the TV from there. But now I can just put a fucking chair in the center of the room and just do that, right? And it's fucking lit. Ugh, it's so good. It's just like, man, it's the little things in life that make you feel so much more at ease, you know? Like, you're not gonna want to work if your keyboard is shitty, you know? That's why you gotta get a fucking mechanical keyboard. It's, like, super important. You're not gonna want to play video games if your equipment is not, you know, not up to stuff. I know that's, like, really indulgent and dumb, but, like, yeah, I'm a happy boy. There's still a lot more I want to do with this room. But fuck, man, I'm excited. I also, like, today, I was like, I picked a vinyl player that I liked. I really want to get a vinyl player soon. Yeah, fuck. It's gonna be so cool. Yeah. And, I still, see, I wanted to make, like, an update video on YouTube, like a real update video, so fucking long ago, but I sort of also, it's just hard when I really do feel like everyone who kind of gives a shit follows me on Twitter anyway, so or they're on Patreon or whatever, so they kind of know what's going on, or they watch the streams, right? I do have a little bit of time now. I don't really have an excuse not to do it. Not to do an update video just explaining everything, right? Like, how busy I am with college, and, like, how YouTube doesn't really make sense anymore, and, like, that Patreon is just the main Patreon and streams are the main focus. But also, Blom's still gonna do Bayonetta 2. That's that video. That's the basic gist of the update video that I want to do, and then I just never did it. I'm also gonna, when I stream, I'm gonna stream on YouTube. I'm gonna go back to YouTube. I do like a lot of stuff about Twitch, but just like, yeah, I used to get so many views on the VODs, surprisingly, and I was like, huh. And like, I don't really get those views on Twitch, so that shows me that there actually was a higher demand on YouTube, kind of. Yeah. So it's not, there's nothing really wrong with Twitch, it's just my audience is already on YouTube, so... if anything, yeah, I mean, I'll say YouTube was kind of a pain in the ass to deal with in places. Just like hooking it up with OBS and all this shit is like, it's such a fucking pain. With Twitch was very easy. To just start, like, you just hit the button and you're streaming, right? With YouTube, I wonder, like, maybe it's improved now. I hope so anyway. I'm gonna, yeah, probably after this goes up, I'm gonna be streaming Mario Odyssey probably the same day. Oh yeah, fuck, I'm gonna get Tony Hawk on Friday as well. I'm gonna get a good deal for it, thankfully. Like, obviously I still need to, because of COVID, and I still have not received my first paycheck, right? So I'm like, budgeting in the most disgusting fucking way possible. I just mentioned all this shit that I already bought that, let's just not talk about it. I don't want to sound as irresponsible as I actually am in real life. I am budgeting, it's gonna be all okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, at first I thought, yeah, I won't be able to get Tony Hawk because of all my other fucking expenses. But now I can get it. That'd be a fun stream, I think. That'd actually be a fun stream. Maybe I'll stream 2 days in a row. Yeah, Mario Odyssey, like, yeah, today, I guess, if this goes up immediately. And then, Tony Hawk the next day, and like Onimusha and OSSC stuff, yeah. Okay, but to the actual topic of this video, or of this recording or whatever, like, I keep calling them bonus videos, but I don't even upload them as videos anymore. I do, like, I should do that. I should do that. Because I know some people probably prefer to watch on YouTube. Yeah. I don't really have, yeah, it's just like, it's just so much fucking extra work, right? Just picking up the gameplay and all this stuff, it's not really that much extra work. I should just fucking do it. The thing is, it's so much faster to just upload an MP3, right? And then you just forget about it and it kind of piles up. I don't know. I feel like I think the last 4 releases on Patreon are without videos, and I need to do those. I guess I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah. But also, man, I just want to fucking, I feel like I just never have a day off, you know? I feel like I just never have a day off. I actually played some video games today. Can you believe that? It's the first time in like weeks that I played a video game today. Fuck. Yeah. Topic of the video. You can see it from the title. I'm gonna talk about controllers. This came up because I was like bored recently. I was in work and I was like, fucking ask me questions, right? And then someone on Twitter said, what's your favorite controller? And then I had this weird moment where I was like typing a response. Like, I wanted to say, oh, maybe it's this controller. But then sort of a million caveats popped into my head, right? And like a million disclaimers I had to give. And then I was actually typing those out, right? Like, I was saying, Yeah, Sega Saturn is pretty great, but like it doesn't have an analog stick, so I guess it's like it's not an all-rounded kind of fucking controller that you can really use for everything. Or like, oh, DualShock 4 is like pretty comfortable and I like the way the buttons feel, but like the build quality is pretty fucking shit. Just going through all these stop processes, right? And like deleting my response, retyping it, deleting what I wrote, blah blah. And I slowly kind of realized, every controller kind of fucking sucks. There's like no single controller that's like does it all, and like that doesn't have like a huge fucking red flag somewhere. Not a red flag, like a huge fucking just mark against it, right? I was thinking of something like the N64 controller, right? The N64 controller, there's nothing that super objectionable about it. Now, like it's a weird controller when you like look at it. But really now when I think about it, it's like, the D-pad is good. The analog stick works. It can break down on you very easily, but like you can also replace it, so it's like the buttons feel nice. It has a cool trigger. It's pretty comfortable. Really the only thing you can knock it for is that it doesn't have a second analog stick, and which is a problem, right? Because you have to imagine like you only have the D-pad and the L trigger on the left side of the controller, right? So in GoldenEye, for example, there is a control scheme where you walk with the D-pad and then aim with the analog stick. So it kind of feels like a modern shooter, which is good. The problem is that the A and B buttons are obviously on the other side, right? And you don't... The thing is, with those buttons, they're not that strictly necessary. Like, I think one is for reloading and the other is for changing weapons, right? And you can, like, you don't need that all the time. You can, like, reach over for that a little bit, I guess. Fuck, I still really want, like, that 360 HD version of GoldenEye. That would be so cool. GoldenEye actually holds up. I like that game a lot. I should play Perfect Dark as well. That'd be a great idea. But yeah, honestly, N64 controller is like, even though it's so weird and idiosyncratic and like people will default to saying that it's a shit controller, when I think about it, it's like, you know what? That's like one of the controllers that I actually have the least problems with. I'd say the GameCube controller, I love the GameCube controller, but like the triggers are not ideal for a lot of situations. They're actually like the build is good. There's nothing really wrong with that, but like they are strenuous to press. It does take like a good amount of effort to press them. And yeah, like over extended sessions it does kind of, I don't know, it's like, that's why in games like RE4 or like Metroid Prime or something, I tend to not fully press the triggers, right? I don't press it until it clicks. I just press it halfway. And that's a little bit more comfortable. It takes a little bit less strength. Well, I like that. The stick is amazing. The main sort of stick on the GameCube, the left stick. The C stick is like, it's not the worst either. But like, trying to play like time splitters on it or something like that is pretty difficult. I'd say for most like sort of third-person games, it's fine. Or like when, you know, in Metroid Prime, where the stick, where the C stick just is your weapon selection, that's also fine. What I'm thinking about right now, like Metroid Prime could have worked on the fucking N64. like, yeah, that game, it didn't even need the GameCube controller, if you think about it. It would have been totally fine with just the N64 controller. That's so weird to think about. Yeah. I do like, see, I feel like I just miss the kind of experimentation you used to have with controllers back then. Because I feel like the layout of the face buttons on the GameCube, they were kind of onto something. Because, and like, I feel the same way with Sega's controllers as well, right? The Mega Drive layout, it actually, you would think sort of 3 buttons in one sort of row is like the least logical way to do it. Because you can't, like, on the Super Nintendo controller, obviously your thumb naturally can rest over 2 buttons, right? Over like B and Y or A and X. So you have a very easy time like pressing 2 buttons at the same time. It's pretty cool. But like on the Mega Drive, I do find myself like, you can like, the buttons are so huge that you can like, with your thumb, you can touch the edge of one button and then the edge of the other, right? And like, imagine, so it's A, B, C, the buttons, right, from left to right. And then the B button is jump, and then A and C are like different attacks, right? And you can like flip between those 2 attacks just as easily, like the ease of flipping between the 2 attacks is the same no matter where your thumb is, right? Because like your thumb rests in the middle on the jump button, and then you just flip it a little over to either left or right to use those attacks. I think that's actually pretty smart. And the GameCube controller, it kind of works in the same way, right? Because the B, A, and X buttons are also sort of a row of 3, but then you have the Y button on the top, and you can press that very easily with the A button. And I do like that the buttons, fuck man, like the GameCube controller, that's like one of, it's like, just like as an idea, the GameCube controller is so fucking giga-brained. I like that the buttons on the GameCube controller, the face buttons, are like tiered. That the A button clearly is the most important, right? Because it's so fucking huge. And then the B button is like, oh, it's like your secondary button, right? It's the second most important. It has like also a distinct color. And then Y and X are like on the 3rd tier. They have their own unique shape. Like they have a shape that's, they each have the same shape to each other, I guess. But they're different from the other 2 buttons. And the way they're sort of like aligned around the A button, I don't know, it just makes it all feel like just part of like this logical system. I'm not sure how to explain it really, but see, the best example I can come up with, sorry, is in Beautiful Joe. It makes sense that A, the big fucking button in the middle, is jump, but then the 2 buttons around the jump button, respectively, are Y for punch and X for kick. And you can flip between them supernaturally. And it's like, I'm not sure how to convey that, right? To, like, if you don't really get what I'm saying, it just feels so intuitive, and like it makes so much sense in a weird way. And I really love that. And I miss that we just cannot deviate from the diamond layout anymore. That is very sad, because like I said, I do feel like Nintendo and Sega and all those other companies, they were onto something with these weird like tiny experiments. Yeah. There's like a lot of dumb things with the GameCube controller, like the lack of a second Z button, for example. Or like you can't click the analog sticks. Now I do think clicking the analog stick might have been a mistake. like, it is such a clunky input. It's not something that feels good, and like, I do feel like ever since we started doing that, analog sticks now just wear out so much quicker than they did on the GameCube, for example. Or like the Wii Classic controller. I was talking to my good buddy Alan about this today. That the Wii Classic controller is like the most slept on controller ever. Actually, that one might be a contender for like one of the best controllers, because build quality is really fucking good. D-pad is great. Sticks are great. It doesn't like it can't do every game, because now obviously games are designed around clickable sticks. But I hate the clickable sticks, right? I like that the sticks are not clickable actually in the classic controller. Like, just compare the sticks in the classic controller to even the PS4 controller, and just something about it feels way more robust and like way more like it's not gonna fucking fall apart on you. I think the worst example of that is the PS3 controller. I was playing the PS3 earlier today as well, and just these sticks, man, like just the buttons, the button underneath and the stick, they kind of have this habit of like sort of moving out of sync. I'm not sure how to explain it, but like my original PS3 controller that I had with the console, when you tilt it down and then try to press the button underneath the left stick, there's something about it feels super off. And that's not every PS3 controller, they're not supposed to be like that, but just the fact that things can sort of like shift and move like that, just because you played it a lot, it's fucking silly. Yeah, classic controller actually great. It does make me think about like the Wii remote, right? I do think the design of the Wii remote is pretty cool, and obviously it's designed to be intuitive, right? That like even just got one big A button and then the trigger B button. I think that's pretty cool. The 1 and 2 buttons are like in the standard configuration, they're not the best, but also I mean they tend to be not used for like main actions. They're more for like menus and stuff, so it's whatever. I do think it is really cool that you could just flip the controller on the side and then it's an NES controller. That is so giga-brained. That is really smart design. Yeah, I guess the one thing they should have really reconsidered about the Wii mode is just the big A button, right? Like, it might have been better to just have A, B, X, Y face buttons, you know, instead of one big A button, and then like a Z trigger at the bottom. In fact, I think that's how the PlayStation Move controller handled it. I never used one of those actually, but yeah. Like, because the games on the Wii, they did feel a little bit gimped sometimes because of the lack of buttons. It's like no one would think to fucking swing the Wii remote for the sword in Twilight Princess, if you could just fucking press. If there was a button that you could press, you know? But there is no button. They had to map to that. Okami saying, oh my god, Okami is like one of the biggest fucking examples. I feel like that, honestly, that one decision kind of kneecapped the console a little bit. And yeah, again, why they did it, right? They wanted just this clean feel to it, but it was not. I don't think it was worth it. I feel like the console would have been just as successful with more buttons. I think especially in games like Call of Duty on the Wii, it was very noticeable that they just had to map it in these really awkward ways. You know what? It's really cool that the Wii mode works on the Wii U, like with Wii U games. Pikmin 3 and like the Call of Duties, and like something about that is so cool to me. Obviously, the sensor bar. I'm not sure how I fucking just went into this whole rant about the Wiimote specifically, but yeah. The sensor bar, obviously, one of the coolest fucking things in gaming. Still love that shit. Yeah. I will say gyro. I guess is the better solution overall because you don't need the reference point, right? The Joy-Cons are a cool controller when they work. That is like the biggest fucking thing. Like I do think the Joy-Cons are pretty comfortable. I do like the way they feel in your hand. I tend to use them without the black thingy. And also, they do the Gigabrain thing again of, oh, you can flip it to the side and then it's like a full controller in itself. That's cool, like that. Like, when people say, oh, but it's so fucking uncomfortable. It's not that uncomfortable, number one, in my opinion. But also, it misses the point, right? The point is that you always have at least 2 controllers with you. That is genius. That is fucking, like, maybe you don't have friends. But, like, personally, I've gotten so much fucking mileage out of this thing. Out of this feature. I think it's genius that you can just fucking plop it onto your, like, you know, if you have a carrying case, the carrying case can turn into, like, a little stand. And you can prop up your Switch and just pull out the controllers and then just go, right? That is so fucking smooth and so fucking just game-changing. Love that shit. Unfortunately, the wireless, the Bluetooth and the Joy-Cons is fucking terrible. Is the worst. You have a game like Mario Odyssey, I don't mind the motion controls of Mario Odyssey, really. I don't mind using them. I think it's stupid that you have to use them. Well, I mean, you don't, but, like, there's so much advanced shit in the game that's, like, way easier with motion, and, way easier with Joy-Con specifically. And, yeah, if you want to use the shit, you have to put up with the shitty Bluetooth on the controller, and that's just, like, I guess to talk more about gyro, yeah, like, obviously the sensor bar, I said earlier, like, gyro is better because it doesn't need the reference point, but, like, the sensor bar being the reference point obviously makes it way more precise. At the same time, it's just, you know, the fucking gyro integrates so much more naturally into a standard control setup. That's the thing, I don't really see how, oh, I guess, yeah, if you have Joy-Cons, and, like, imagine one of them were pointing at a sensor bar instead of having gyro, I guess that could kind of work. But, like, unless you have a split controller setup, I don't think it works, right? That's so interesting. But yeah, generally, gyro aiming, actually, it took a while to grow on me. Not gonna lie. I think the first time I, like, really got it was when I played Quake on PC with it. I was like, whoa, this just, like, something about it felt so fucking natural. And then I started moving over to, like, Splatoon and all those other games, and, like, then I kind of started getting it. I think, see, what I liked, the kinds of controls that I liked on the Wii, for example, where, in Resident Evil 4, where you, would move the camera with the stick, but Leon's aim with the reticle, with the IR sensor. Because, yeah, it's just way easier to not, like, imagine just your hand is constantly in motion, right? So that means the camera is constantly in motion if your aim is tied to the camera. If you divorce the two, you don't have this like kind of erratic sense of movement. Like with the stick and with the mouse, you don't really have that either, right? Like you move the camera when you want to, whereas with motion controls, any tiny movements could impact your field of view a little bit, and that's kind of that's very disorienting at first, right? So that's why I kept kind of wishing for games to have the RE4 setup, where it's like, okay, I want to just use the stick on the Joy-Con or whatever to move the camera, and then aim with the gyro, right? Like in Doom, for example, I wanted that the reticle, instead of just staying in the center, it would just move along the screen. I'm not sure that's easy to understand when I describe it, but like, I wanted to be able to move the camera with the stick, and then your gun can just move up and down independent from the camera, right? Obviously, that would require more tweaking than what was originally in the game. But always in my head, I imagined that would probably work really well. But like, you can just get used to it. You can get used to how the camera works, and that's fine. And yeah, I don't want to play shooters without it anymore. I'll say, I tried it in The Last of Us 2, and it kind of felt weird to me. I'm not sure if I just wasn't used to it, but like something about it didn't feel very finely tuned. And like, I guess, you know, I wasn't like naturally playing the game. I was just like throwing myself into different situations and like just testing it, right? Maybe you just need to like just forget it exists and then just use it like kind of naturally. I'm not sure. I guess on that subject, we're on the PS4 controller. And you know what? I've gone through phases with the PS4 controller, honestly. Like, right now, where I'm at is like, I like the buttons. I like that the buttons are like kind of shallow, and they feel like they just activate very quickly, right? Or actuate, I should say, maybe. That's the problem I have with the Xbox One controller, and like to a lesser extent with the Xbox 360 controller, that the buttons, they're recessed in such a way where you do have to put some force into it to press them. And I don't know, like, I feel like for faster paced games and like games where you hold the buttons a lot, it's not ideal. I remember playing Bayonetta on the Xbox One controller, and it just felt off. Just like, you hold the button and then you let go of it, and like the act of letting go feels really gross somehow on the Xbox controller. I think it's just because of the travel distance and like just the way pressing it feels. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I really like that aspect of the PS4 controller. I guess I don't mind the sticks that much. And do you think the left stick on the bottom is the better choice overall because it makes the D-pad more comfortable to press? I'm not super partial about that. I don't necessarily need it one way or the other. But yeah. Okay, I just fell asleep recording this, and now it's a day later. And I should immediately sound way less tired, hopefully. Even though it's also now like 3 a.m. Yeah. I was talking about the PS4 controller. I guess just to recap for myself, love that the buttons are a little bit recessed, like the travel distance when you press them is really short and snappy. That's really like the biggest thing in its favor, but like, oh yeah, fuck. Did I mention before I fell asleep? I don't think I mentioned that the triggers, the shape is like not the most comfortable and the most ideal, and they do feel a little bit like springy and just kind of weird, right? But also, I was playing Bayonetta on it recently, and like I have an Xbox One X, right? But I specifically bought the Bayonetta Vanquish pack on the PS4 because I just like the controller better for those kinds of games. Except, I realized, playing Bayonetta with those triggers is kind of hard because, like, they have these really, just like hard edges. Like the contours of the triggers are really hard and like angular, you know? They're not smooth like they are on the Xbox controller or on the GameCube controller or something like that. Or like even on the 360 controller, original Xbox, Dreamcast. They're not, or even like PS3 would be preferable, right? Because they're also pretty soft. But like on the PS4 somehow, my finger just kind of wraps around the trigger, and then when I press it hard enough, like the trigger will just cut into my finger. And it's like legit physically painful. And like, it's bad enough that I don't, like, this PS4 version of Bayonetta is like the best version now, right? Because even the PC version had some issues. And then also, you know, I had problems with the Xbox controller with the game as well. So, I mean, technically, Xbox One X, I guess, is better, but, like, whatever. This, like, new console port is the best version, right? But I can't play it because, like, it's physically painful. And, honestly, my hope is that the PS5 controller addresses all my issues. And, like, I feel like the PS5 controller has potential. It could be a really great controller. Because, like we already saw... Wait, let me look at images of it, actually. I'm interested now. Wait. The DualSense. Okay, you know what? The triggers still look pretty similar. That does not inspire confidence. The sticks also, like, yeah, I mentioned I don't like the material of the sticks. I'll say the D-pad maybe is better. Like, it might be better. There's a chance that it is better. Like, the D-pad, it looks a little bit more recessed, which I like. I hope it's, like, a little bit more like the Vita's D-pad. I think the Vita had a really great D-pad. Yeah, the distance between the sticks, I think it looks a little bit farther on the PS5 controller now, which I think would be preferable because when you have both sticks sort of held inward, your fingers will touch. Your thumbs will sort of touch each other, and it's kind of weird. Again, like I said, I don't generally mind the left stick being at the bottom. I think that's fine. But yeah. I just wish... I think I mentioned, yeah, I put these little caps on the sticks so that they're a little bit more easy to just grip. I guess if push comes to shove, we'll just do that again with the PS5 pad. But yeah, honestly, the thing I'm the most concerned about right now is the triggers. They do... Wait. I need to look at images of the PS4 controller again. And yeah, the shape seems a little bit more beefy, a little bit more Xbox-like, which I do like. Not like... I feel like maybe, hopefully, my hope is that they're hitting some kind of middle ground between those two. Like, not as small as the DualShock 4, but like not as big as the Xbox controller. Okay. Okay, wait. I'm looking at an image now. I gotta be honest, they look very similar. Yeah, I'm worried that it's gonna have the same issue. I don't know, dude. I guess they look a little bit more rounded. There's like a little bit of a, I guess like a tiny bit of a depression in the PS4 triggers. That is not like, I guess the PS4 triggers are a little bit more concave, and the PS5 triggers are slightly more convex. And I hope maybe that's gonna make the difference, right? That when you press it, your finger, it kind of naturally sits a little bit higher or something, and then it's not gonna wrap around the edges so much. I don't know. This is gonna sound really fucking esoteric and just like nonsense, what I'm saying. Oh, the sticks are a little bit more textured. Yeah, now I can see that. Okay. Okay. That'd be cool. That seems like a good idea. Yeah. We'll see. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this already, but like one great thing about the DualShock 4 is that input lag on PC. You can overclock it, and then it's like one of the fastest controllers on PC. That's pretty cool. And like, I guess, see, obviously the setup of this whole thing was like I was asked what is my favorite controller, or you know, what is the best controller. And obviously compatibility and input lag and like versatility is a factor, right? Like I really do look for that one controller that I can kind of do everything with, right? That I can that's like my favorite to use on consoles, but then also great to use on PC, doesn't have input lag, is comfortable with most games, right? And I feel like that just still doesn't really exist. I'm actually, yeah, so I mentioned earlier in this recording that I'm gonna do like a trade-in deal for Tony Hawk. I'm actually trading in one of my DualShock 4s. Because I still have the Rev 1 version for both of them. I got them with my PS4. I don't like, okay, PS5's coming out soon. I don't think I need two of those controllers. And if I do, I would prefer to like get a Rev 2 eventually anyway. So like, might as well get rid of one of them now. Yeah, and I mean, from the couple times that I've tried it, the Rev 2 definitely feels a little more solid. Maybe we gotta update this video when I put more time into that. But yeah, so yeah, oh yeah, I mean, another interesting consideration is that the DualShock 4, for example, it works on Steam very smoothly, but then with other games, it's kind of a crapshoot all of the time. And generally, the Xbox controller is just a lot more reliable to fall back on in those situations. And that's why, see, I have this like really nice mini shelf on top of my desk that my laptop sits on, and then inside that shelf, I just have the Xbox One controller just always ready to go. It's a pretty cool setup. So, like, I don't know what it is, but like something about it feels a little laggy to me about the Xbox controller on PC. I'm not sure if it's just like some weird placebo effect, if I'm just an idiot, or if there's something to that. I mean, I did try the overclock on the Xbox controller as well, and it did seem to improve things, kind of. I don't know. But yeah. I don't know, the DualShock 4 always felt significantly faster to me than other controllers that I've tried. I guess the big elephant in the room right now is the Wii U Pro. Not the Wii U Pro. The Wii U Pro controller actually is also interesting. I do think like just the build quality of that controller was pretty solid. The glossy finish was really bad, but the buttons felt good. The D-pad was great. The sticks were not bad. I do think it's a little bit weird that both sticks were on the top. That was a very strange setup. Yeah, the Wii U Pro controller was not bad, but it had a critical flaw in that it added, I think, like an extra 10 milliseconds or something of input lag, compared to both the Wii U gamepad and any Wii accessories. So if you're using a Wii remote on the Wii U, it's gonna have the same input lag as like the Wii U gamepad, but the Wii U Pro controller has more input lag. And once I learned that, I was like, okay, fuck that, I'm never gonna use that controller again, right? Because what's the point? I'll say, dude, the Wii U gamepad, I've gone through phases with it. Recently, I've been playing it more, like lately, just randomly. I was messing around with Star Fox Zero, especially. And, you know, that controller, it's less comfortable than I remember, honestly. Like, when I hold it now, it's like, it doesn't really fit my hands as well as it used to. And I do think shit on that controller is just a little bit spread out in a weird way. Obviously, the Wii U gamepad is like a super special case. You just need it for very specific games. I do like that it opened up the possibility for like playing DS games on the Wii U. Obviously, Wii U for DS games, even with homebrew, is like not super comprehensive. Though I think a lot of games do work on the Wii U DS emulator. I installed fucking Mega Man ZX recently. I'm gonna play it like that on the TV. It's pretty cool. It's like fucking pixel perfect, nice ass graphics. Love that shit. So honestly, that alone made the Wii U gamepad kind of worth it. Because you have to think like, how fucking else would you do DS games on a TV? Like, there really is no more ideal way. And, yeah, I'm glad that Nintendo, you know, did do that. That Nintendo did have, like, some kind of DS representation on the Wii U. That they took that chance, right? Or they used that opportunity, is what I'm trying to say. One thing that I like about the Wii U in general that was carried over to the Switch is generally that you can use a lot of fucking different controllers. Fuck, I was talking... Wait. I think I already mentioned this. That I talked to my friend Alan about it. That the... Yeah, I already mentioned this, yeah. That the classic controller for the Wii, or the classic controller Pro specifically. The classic controller regular is not bad either, but... one of the most slapped on controllers for sure. And like, yeah, I definitely did mention this on the Wii U. If you want to play Wonderful 101, the controller you need to use is the Wii Classic controller. Because like, it's more comfortable than the gamepad, but it doesn't have the input lag from the Pro controller. Yeah, that's like a fucking just pro hack. So yeah, Elephant in the Room Switch Pro Controller. Oh yeah, wait, I lost my train of thought. What I want to mention is that I like that the Wii U supported a lot of fucking different controllers, and the Switch is the same way. Any USB controller works, or like almost any. Bluetooth support is like really comprehensive. You have all these fucking 8-bit Do controllers. The 8-bit Do controllers are like whole can of worms, but like that's cool about the Switch. I mentioned the Joy-Con thing as well, right? That I like that you can flip the Joy-Con on the side. Like, yeah. But the Switch Pro controller. Wait, did I talk about it already? Okay, I had not yet talked about the Switch Pro Controller. I'm not as stupid as I thought. I didn't listen to the whole audio. I just skimmed over it, but it seemed like I didn't talk about it. So, fuck, but like it feels like I have. I'm just gonna say it now. Like, obviously, the fucking big problem with the Switch Pro Controller that everybody's aware of, that everybody that's like so widely discussed, right, is the fucking D-pad. Oh, it's, you know, it in itself, it's a very stiff, just weird feeling D-pad, right? It's not the worst that I've tried. It does feel still like kind of clicky and like, you feel like you're pressing buttons, right? It's not super mushy like it is on the PS3, for example, or other consoles, right? So that's good. But even like on the surface, it's not nearly as satisfying and like comfortable to press as like other controllers that I've mentioned, right? Like the Wii U Pro controller, or the Wii Classic controller, or even the Wii U gamepad. The Wii U gamepad, like, this has, I think, a inferior D-pad to some of those other controllers, but it's still better than the Switch Pro controller. But all that is not nearly as fucking disastrous as the fucking diagonals on that stupid controller. Oh my god. Like, and the way, like, everyone is aware of the issue, but people don't describe it properly. Basically, what the issue is that I can hold a direction, let's say left. I hold left on the D-pad, right? And then, if I sort of rock that direction back and forth, like up and down, right? My thumb is resting on the left button, and then I tilt my thumb up and down a little bit, right? So that the whole D-pad kind of moves a little bit. That is enough that the up or down directions on the D-pad will actuate. Even though I'm really only holding the left direction. And, that is so fucking insanely problematic in so many games. I really, like, I mean, when I got my Switch, I think Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap had just come out, and in that game it was so noticeable that, your character would just kind of randomly duck all the time. It was really annoying. And like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm describing, right? That you hold left, for example, and then you move your thumb down a tiny bit, and that already counts as like a downward input. And I know you can like improve it somehow. But like I saw Nero talk about it, and he was like, yeah, I did the mod, and it's still bad, right? It's still very much sort of the same. Better, but like, it's the same issue, kind of the same pattern, I guess, persists. So I was like, yeah, it's not worth it. And that's why on the Switch, for me, it was like really important to get one of those Super Nintendo controllers, one of those official ones. Excuse me. Because on those controllers, the D-pad is actually good. And that's, yeah, that has become my preferred option for like 2D games. Other than that, Switch Pro controller, pretty comfortable to hold. I like that the buttons are so huge, and they do, like, they are big. They feel like the travel distance is pretty satisfying. And like pretty instantaneous. Sorry. Again, I'm not sure what it is, right? I have the Xbox controller right here. And just something about the buttons feels a little bit too sticky to me. I can't really put it into words, but like, I mean, the travel distance isn't really higher, right? Actually, I mean, it is a little bit. I feel like it is a little bit. But it's more like the stickiness of it. I'm not sure how else to describe it. They're not even really sticky, you know, like when I'm using it right now, it doesn't feel like the button is like sticking to the shell. It's not like that, but I don't know. Just something about it is slightly off. Maybe it's the fact that the buttons are like so rounded on the Xbox controller. Maybe that's what I don't like. On the Switch Pro controller, they're also relatively flat, right? Not as flat as PS4, but like still relatively flat. And then I have the Super Nintendo controller right here as well. And like these are also a tiny bit rounded, but like not as much as the Xbox controller. And like it's just, I don't know. This feels so much better to me somehow. This is great. The SNES Online fucking controller, super fucking good. I just wish Nintendo actually sold them, you know, like made them widely available. Oh yeah, the whole Mario thing came out today. On topic. Yeah. Now for gyro shit, the Switch controller is godlike, and in my experience, it has worked better than like the PS4 controller on Steam. I guess the other thing that like kind of kneecaps this controller is like the lack of analog triggers. There aren't so many games that strictly require analog triggers. I'm still not really sure why they didn't just do it. Like, could it have been that hard to implement with the Joy-Cons? There's already so much shit in the Joy-Cons, right? Like, I'm really, like, I'm thinking, I mean, I guess they would have had to recess, like, or recess, sorry, some of the plastic, some of the shell, like, if they didn't want to make the buttons higher than they already are, then I guess they would have had to take away some of the plastic or something, or, I don't know. Maybe there was, like, some kind of design issue where they couldn't add analog triggers to the Joy-Cons. And then, obviously, by extension, you can't add them to the Pro Controller either, because then you create the separation, right, and you don't want that. So I get that. But yeah. This also, again, if we're looking at it sort of comprehensively, we need to understand that, yeah, like, this one thing, even though it doesn't really matter in most games, I guess, it still kneecaps the controller overall. Like, it still means you can't use it with, like, literally every game. I think we've gone through, like, most of the major controllers. I mean, there's, like, some older controllers that I didn't really super discuss. I think Dreamcast controller is kind of interesting. The Dreamcast controller is, like, not that comfortable to hold. It's about as comfortable to hold as it looks. And, like, it looks a little bit more uncomfortable than it actually is, but it's still not really comfortable. But the build is pretty solid, I'd say. The build is pretty solid. The D-pad is weird but functional. Like, it moves a lot. It's like a very loose feeling D-pad, but I don't actually mind it. The stick is very weird. I really want to try that Saturn 3D controller, because that actually seems kind of lit. Also, I'm planning to get one of those Retrobit Mega Drive controllers, where it's the 6-button Mega Drive controller, which is already pretty cool. I actually have not used it ever. I only ever used the Saturn controller in that kind of style. But I'm kind of hoping that maybe the recent Retrobit controllers, they're not bad. They're not like the worst sort of third-party controllers that I've tried. But something about the D-pads is still a little bit funky. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but yeah. I'm hoping that the Mega Drive design is a little bit easier to replicate. And that D-pad feels a little bit better and a little bit higher quality. Generally, I feel like I've heard more good things about that Mega Drive Retrobit controller than the Saturn one. And even, like, the Saturn one, the Saturn reception was surprisingly positive. And I say surprisingly in the sense that I've tried it and I feel like it doesn't really measure up to the original controller. Original Saturn controller, really cool controller. I really do like it. But it is a little bit overrated, I'd say. Because I don't know, I feel like we can still have an even better D-pad somehow. Is like the impression on my brain. I mean, it is a pretty good D-pad. Like, I'm not sure. That's the thing. I'm not sure if I've actually tried a better D-pad ever. Maybe I'm bullshitting. Yeah, maybe the Saturn controller is actually the greatest controller. Yeah. I think it's mostly. Yeah, no. The thing was that I like the face buttons. That's fine. The overall shape of it is not the most comfortable, but also the L and R buttons are kind of bad. L and R, like, shoulder buttons, I feel like even more so than triggers, are hard to get right. On the Super Nintendo controller, for example, they're pretty great. But, like, I was playing Halo on the Xbox today, on the Xbox One X, with that respective controller, and yeah, just the LB and RB buttons on that pad, like, just never really sat right with me. Honestly, same with the 360. Already on the 360, I didn't like those buttons. And on the Switch Pro controller, I don't really like them either. Consistently, the one console where I've always liked the L1 and R1 buttons is PlayStation. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but, like, they just feel, like, really springy and, like, just, like, you know, soft and, like, and nice. I'm not sure how to describe it, but yeah. I feel like that's how they should feel, ideally. It's very hard to get right. But yeah, and those buttons on the Saturn are kind of bad. Now, what's cool with this Retrobit Mega Drive controller is that they actually retroactively added L and R triggers to that controller. So you can. My plan is, like, I'm gonna build a Mr. FPGA console, and then I'm gonna get one of those Retrobit controllers. Because then theoretically it should work perfectly with both Mega Drive and Super Nintendo games, because it has the shoulder buttons, right? Seems very neat. Seems like a great idea. I'll let you know how it goes. Are there any other major controllers we haven't discussed? I'll say PS2 build quality somehow was way better than PS3. Just this, I think I might have mentioned this already too, though. I might have mentioned this in this video, but, like, yeah. Generally, the sticks consistently, they're way more textured on the PS2, and just the build quality feels better. Like, they feel like they can last a little longer, and, like, I think they're not as long, and, like, they're not as loose. I'm not sure what the fuck they were thinking with the PS3 controller, honestly. One thing, Tim Rogers, game designer, games journalist extraordinaire, one thing he always says is that the PS1 controller was actually the best one, the one without the analog sticks, because it was actually made of, like, aluminum and the highest quality material generally. And you know what? Having tried the controller, I can actually feel it. That actually makes sense to me. Yeah. Talking about the GameCube, 360 is kind of relevant. Yeah. So, if we were to design the perfect controller, there's one criterion that I haven't really mentioned so far, and it's that I wish we experimented more with, like, button layouts. But I think more specifically, I wish 6 face buttons had become standard. I feel like that's just such a fucking improvement. because there are so many functions that would be easier to make use of with face buttons than with shoulder buttons, right? When you run out of face buttons, you have to move over to the shoulder buttons. It feels often, you know, and it's a good example. I mean, fighting games are the best example, right? Where obviously they're designed, like Street Fighter is designed that you have 6 attacks on the face buttons. But because you only have 4 face buttons on most controllers, they map them to the triggers. And especially when you're using your left hand to do like an input, and then you need to press one of the shoulder buttons, that's not ideal at all. So yeah, if we're designing like the perfect controller, number 1 priority, 6 face buttons. I guess it also needs 2 analog sticks. I still just generally think, like, once we added analog sticks, everything went to shit. The quality, like, with these simpler controllers, the quality used to be higher for sure. I'm tired again, oh my god, but I'm gonna pull through, hang on. Okay, so. The perfect controller has 6 face buttons, 2 analog sticks. The analog sticks, let's say the face buttons, we're gonna take them from the Saturn controller. And we're also gonna take the D-pad from the Saturn controller. And then the 2 face buttons, or the 2 analog sticks, are at the bottom. But let's say they're... this is hard. Let's say they're just the Wii Classic controller analog sticks. And they also have the, like, octogate thing. Which I know most people today, they would fucking hate it, but, like, I think it's cool. This is my fucking content. I get to do whatever I want. Leave me alone. So we're doing that. There's no L3 and R3, right? Fuck that. That's why you have the 6 face buttons, so you don't need those anymore. You have the L1 and R1 from like a PS4 controller or something, or a PS3 or whatever, something like that. Then you have Xbox triggers. You have gyro. You have a start and a select button. There's no share button. Share buttons were a mistake. I guess, yeah, like something like a touchpad would only be necessary for like specifically PS4, but like I don't care. So again, it's important to stress we're trying to build the ultimate controller, but we're also trying to build it for me specifically. So that's why there's no share button. Can send inputs over a USB-C cable, and also does it fast. Does it without added lag. That's a very big requirement. Has gyro. Gyro, very important. And then, like, the general sort of build, the feel. Yeah, bigger than a DualShock 4, smaller than an Xbox controller. That's great. You know what I just remembered? One thing that was cool on the GameCube was that the triggers had, like, a click at the very bottom. So there's still analog triggers, right, that do different things depending on how hard you press. But then there was also the full click. And, like, that could be interesting because it could theoretically enable, like, separate functions for something, you know? But yeah. That's what the perfect controller needs to look like. 6 face buttons, 2 not shitty analog sticks, gyro, no share button. Saturn D-pad. I feel like it's just like, can that be so hard to make that controller? Surely I'm not the first person to come up with the idea that that would be like the perfect controller, right? Yeah. I gotta be honest, I'm really tired. I can't believe I've already talked about this for like an hour. Yeah, my life update was like 20 minutes, and now I'm at 1 hour and 20 minutes. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this little rant. I'll record the next one very shortly. Yeah. I feel like there was more that I wanted to say, but I'm not sure. Goodbye.